Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins, and today we are in our tiny house. My sweet wife Ingrid is here, and we're going to do some questions and answering here today because we were so busy at the shop, and we'll get into that later, exactly what's going on at the shop.
Yes.
So anybody that wants to come and visit us, this is our tiny house, and we would love to have you visit and stay with us. This is our in the woods cabin, I guess you could call it.
Call it our Christmas cottage.
Oh, we enjoyed it so much at Christmas time. Family can stay here. So let's get the video going. Well, I hope you like that little intro that we just did. What do you think, Ingrid?
Oh, yeah, of course I'm partial. I loved it.
Yes, I built this for my wife. It took us a couple of years, but we got it done, and it really works out great for family and friends to visit out here. And we thought we would shoot the video here today. Like I said, we were so busy at the shop. I had to run to my wholesaler twice in 1 week to recover funds from people selling. We had two, what you call whales, I guess, come in this week. But aside from that, let's put that aside since that's not the norm for us.
Right.
But the norm seemed to be people wanting silver. Right. And it's interesting that these people that are coming in, they're saying, I have no idea what I'm doing. Somebody told me to do this, and I'm just trusting you to tell me what to do. And we sit and talk with them. We explain, we answer their questions, try to get them to understand. But basically, they're just doing it because somebody's telling them and they see this problem coming. So this video today is going to be really interesting. It's going to be about the 5 pillars.
Yes, I was going to touch back on that. And so one of the main pillars, well, they're all main, but would be political.
The political pillar. So we in our business and in our videos, we're going to be having 5 ways that we can 100% that the price of silver is going to go up, or gold and silver are going to go up, and that we have an economic problem. And today we're talking about the political problem. And third world countries, they do not have reserve currency status because the good faith and trust is not there.
Right.
So we have this good faith and trust in our government that gives us the reserve currency status. Well, I beg to differ. You look at our political situation, and for those of you that have the TDS syndrome,
Explain what that is.
Trump derangement syndrome, you may want to turn the video off right here because this is probably going to rile you up. But I'm just going to present the facts and you can decide on your own. So here we have a situation where Trump has been tried 95. He got 95 counts, felony indictments against him. He's got 4 or 5 of these trials. And I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say something that I've noticed, that it's the Democrat, which if you know your history, it's the Democrats that have been racist throughout. Yeah. You know, it's really, and even when they switched, they tried to switch it with Roosevelt, the expression that he used, I can't even repeat it here on the video, where they switched it from being holding the African American down.
I think it was actually Johnson.
Was it John? Well, okay, whichever one it was. One of them made a very racist statement
very racist,
when he was
terrible.
president.
Never say that word.
That he would exchange and turn the African American race into voting for them for the next 100 years, from being pro-slavery and all of that. And all, you know, you can study the history. We're not going to go into that. But now I'm looking at the Democrat Party using the African American, whether you're talking about Letitia James or Alvin Bragg or Fani Willis or Nathan Wade, these people, to go after their political opponent. Yeah. So, you know, instead of making them put their hand to the plow, they're putting them out there in front to take the hits for the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
So that has led me to something I noticed this week, where Trump is paying, he's got a $500 million fine from Letitia James, right? Okay, so we're looking at this Letitia A.G. James, New York person, and it's a $500 million fine. Well, it's costing him $100,000 a day.
That's astonishing.
Yeah, to fight this, to purchase the insurance that protected him against having to pay it. It's like a surety bond, right? So what struck me this week was that now the courts are suing Trump to bring these Tren de l'Agua, MS-13, these murderers, these killers, these illegal aliens back into our country. The senator went to El Salvador. We've got judges being arrested, felony charges for hiding these terrorists,
really?
right? It's a terrorist. He's calling them. We're in a battle, a terroristic battle right now. And who knows? Like we've said before, they're the ones bringing in the fentanyl, bringing in the crime. They emptied out the jails, emptied out the insane asylums in these other countries and sent them over here to us. Yeah. So Trump's trying to get that out, but yet these judges, back to my point, the judges are fighting him, and so they went to appeal to the federal courts, went to the next level up, and gave the court 42 minutes to respond. And when they didn't respond, they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court responded within 24 hours at 1 o'clock in the morning on Easter.
Yeah, that's right. It was Easter weekend.
Yeah, Resurrection Weekend, Saturday morning at 1 o'clock in the morning, they responded. And Trump cannot get relief on his $100,000 a day. That's still at the federal court level, held up.
Yeah, they won't move it on.
No, they won't move it on. But to get Tren de l'Agua and MS-13 back into this country, 42 minutes, and a few hours later, the Supreme Court is stepping in on the situation. Yeah. And what I'm saying is the political double standard. The lawfare. Thank you. And we all know that this is what's going on. I'm just touching on it right here and asking you to look at it and see what you think.
Yeah, I agree.
And you could comment down in the...
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Right. Have I gone out on a limb too far? Or maybe I'm right, or maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. But I'm looking at the situation and I'm saying it sure looks like lawfare to me.
Yeah, definitely.
And he got reelected with like 80 million, almost 80 million votes. Yeah. So a lot of people know and recognize that this is lawfare.
Yes.
But at the same time, we're going to talk about China, right?
Yes. I was going to ask you about China. One is that state of Missouri was able to sue them.
Oh, that's right.
And they won.
Yes, the state of Missouri did a lawsuit against China and won in regards to the Wuhan virus leak. And we're probably not allowed to say the name of it, but so because YouTube is censoring it. Yeah. So Missouri wins this lawsuit, and it's the 6 times the largest previous lawsuit. So it's in the billions and billions and billions of dollars. Well, China didn't even show up to defend themselves. Right. So now Missouri is saying they can confiscate the farmland that China has been buying all these years. Yeah. And they can even go outside of Missouri and get restitution in other states. And this may set a precedent for other states to come in and start suing for recovery.
Right.
And then, of course, that money would go out to the people who lost loved ones or businesses and things. It wouldn't just be held in the state. Right. It would go out to help people that suffered during the sickness.
Right. So all of that is to say is China has been a big pink elephant in the room.
Yes, so that's where really we're headed for this trade war. Yes. So it's a trade war and
all the tariffs
and a war with China. And Trump's using the tariffs in order to rectify the situation. Right. And this currency that we've had, this reserve currency thing, it's what strengthened China and made them into the powerhouse that they are. It's because of the dollar had the reserve currency status, and everybody has benefited from it. Even Canada. You look at Canada and the two cities up there, Toronto and Vancouver, they have significantly increased their property values, their income, their population. Everything has increased substantially, and we have subsidized that country. Both militarily, we protect them, and we send our currency up there. I think it's $200 billion a year that we subsidize for them, but it's just printed money. Yeah. And so we're getting back to the point where we have to either rectify it ourselves or it will be rectified. In other words, the ship is going down. Maybe we can bail it out and patch it and keep it afloat and go on with the nation. But if once the ship sinks below the water level, you can't to bring it back to the surface, bring the Titanic back to the surface is impossible. So what Trump is trying to do is steer this ship before it completely goes below the water level by leveling the tariff field, cleaning out the Tren de l'Agua, the criminals, and all of this. And it may involve also a constitutional crisis that we have with these federal judges. You know, here they are physically hiding these immigrants, these illegal immigrants, and here they are defending them. And you know, even a senator went down to El Salvador. So
It's crazy.
Trump is stepping in and turning this entire thing around.
Because he wants a lower trade dollar.
Yes.
Let's come back to this because that's so central and key to what he's trying to do. Because
Exactly.
the tariffs are helping that, but the whole world has benefited.
Yes.
The countries, and he said this for as long as he's been in front of the camera, years and years and years.
Years and years, 30, 40 years.
We have been taken advantage of, and the reason is because of our corruption. We're able just to print money with no accountability and that kind of thing.
And without the accountability, you're able to have all of the fraud.
Right.
And so Steve Bassett even came out this week and said, look, this is not about the U.S. becoming isolationist. We want to turn the ship around and bring everybody with us. We want to bring all nations together and continue the reserve currency status, but have a nation inside of ourselves, independent also. So it's righting the ship and bringing all ships along. With the tide rises, they all rise together. That's what Steve Bassett has said that he wants to do.
Yes. So bring this back around though to silver.
Okay, let's wrap around through the China and people who have jobs and things.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people.
Yeah,
even our friends, you know, we're seeing them on Facebook,
Yeah.
and they're saying, "Hey, I have this widget business or whatever, and I get stuff from China, and my tariffs are up to 145% or whatever, and how am I going to do this?" Well, you have to understand that the old way is disappearing, and this is the key to prosperity. And I have fallen on my face many times. Car businesses, construction businesses, all these different things have fallen on my face, but you learn from those and you go on. You change with whatever is. Look and see where things are headed. You can see that we're headed down a whole nother path. And I think China is going to be very, very stubborn about this. So if you've got something going on with China where you're dependent on them, you may need to think about cutting that completely off and going a whole nother direction with your career and your life, and maybe keeping in mind that you need something that operates on both sides of the economy, a commodity, something that people need, whether the economy's up or down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I always use the firewood example, but go buy yourself a chainsaw and cut some firewood. But you know, you can buy a CNC machine and start making car parts. They have 3D machines.
3D machines.
Right. You can buy these 3D machines and start making certain parts, rear view mirrors.
Well, we've needed car parts lately. We had to wait for them to come from Japan
and Australia
and Dubai.
Yes. And weeks and weeks and weeks for just simple little gaskets or little pieces of metal. These are just ideas, but you really have to look at yourself, look at your age, look at your capabilities, look at what market you're in, and try to, if you're selling teddy bears, go buy a teddy bear making machine and make teddy bears. You know, you just have to leapfrog it. Whatever you're doing now, find something similar to it. Now, when we came out of the construction business, it was a huge leap into the gold and silver. A lot of faith, a lot of trust, a lot of change. But that's where the Lord led us, and we were able to do that. So look and see where the Lord's leading you, what doors open for you, and what you're physically capable of doing.
Yeah.
A lot of that was my physical capability. I was getting older. I didn't want to carry doors and windows, and
doing that all by yourself.
Yes,
you didn't want to have to hire people.
Never hired anybody because the help is so expensive and so difficult. So I would put kitchen cabinets and countertops in, doors, windows, all that. Did it all by myself because I didn't want the problem of labor. So reinventing yourself is the key to success and prosperity. And right now we've got a huge opportunity. You know, during the Great Depression, the largest number of millionaires was created during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
It's because it's the people who were able to step outside of the box, reinvent themselves, and be creative into the new market, because the new market is coming.
Yeah.
You know, whether Trump does it, whether China falls, A new market is coming. And you may want to have something a few years that provides you income and security outside of the economy.
Right.
Maybe a side hustle.
And the main thing too is they were out of debt. The ones who prospered.
Exactly.
They had the liquidity.
Yes, good point. Yeah, I've read a lot of books on the Depression, and you see these people losing 1,000-acre farms over $100 bill. That note that they had on the farm, and they couldn't beg, borrow, or steal $100 to save a 1,000-acre farm. So you want to be out of debt, and you want to have a skill. Some type of skill. And I tell you, one of the ones I tell people when they come in the shop is have the skill to be able to transfer silver into food, to be able to go out and negotiate with a farmer that and buy some food. Yeah. If you have that skill, and that's a fun thing to do. You, your wife, and kids could go out on Saturday, take some silver, find the farmer. That's the main word, find the farmers, and get to know them. And start purchasing good, fresh meat and vegetables with silver. Start eating right. Be healthy. And learn how to convert silver into food. That would be a skill. You can have your regular 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Spend Saturday and Sunday honing your skill and your Rolodex for providing food. And if the economy crashes, you would know where to be a trade. You could set up a trading post.
Well, that'd be great.
The first millionaire in the United States was a trading post operator. Right here in Fredericksburg. Yeah, right at 17 and 2, I believe it is. Or 17 and Route 1. Mm-hmm. The first millionaire in the United States was a trader. He just set up a trading post. So if you can set up a trading post down the road, hypothetically, you don't have to be slaughtering the pig or raising the pig or planting the wheat and the corn. You just have that skill to be able to transfer silver into food and be able to trade with people.
Yeah.
So that's a skill that you could learn right there.
Yeah, I found the local farms. I just found those on Facebook. I just searched for it.
It's so easy to find them now, but in an economic collapse, those people are going to be hiding because everybody's going to be contacting them for food. They're going to be like, give me food, give me food. But if you've already got a relationship, and it helps the farmer. If you're buying eggs from the local farmer, they can then afford to buy more chickens and grow the farm. We made that mistake a few years ago where we started selling eggs, and we started getting more and more customers, and we started getting more and more chickens and growing it, and then we had the sickness, the 2020 sickness, and that whole thing collapsed. So got to be careful, but what I'm saying is maybe you could grow the farmer, invest in the farmer, and if you're buying the products from them, he can then grow along with it.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
And he sees that you're helping him grow by being a steady buyer of his products.
That's really good. And now it's the time to do that. Like we said, you can.
Right.
So you think it's still a possibility? I mean, we just need to be prepared either way. If it collapses.
Well, it's going to be very difficult. I've been lighthearted about it and optimistic, but I want everybody to understand that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to turn this around. And there may be a year or two that things are really tough. I mean, we are so dependent on China for so many chemicals. The chemicals are in our food. They're in our wrappers. They're in everything. It's very pervasive. Yeah. So what we're talking about doing is going to be very difficult.
Someone even said that China might even quit altogether shipping to us.
Right. Yeah. They could, and I think they will, because they're a different kind of people. And they will sacrifice their people and their hardship. They won't even think twice about being thick-headed, and we may have to do completely without their products, and in the changeover to new products, and that's why I say try to be ahead of that game. So you'll be there, and there'll be a huge demand for you when you've already set up a CNC machine or a 3D printer or whatever that you want to specialize in, for example. Yes. Because people are still going to need cars. They're still going to need batteries, or maybe start making batteries or something, that you can do. That kind of maybe ties into what you're doing now.
Right. And the Lord wants us to prosper. He
yes.
Wants us to desire. He wants us to be able to meet other people's needs.
Right.
And so He wants to show us now what to do.
Well, He was doing that. That was the gospel. He would meet their needs and heal them, but then it was about getting to know Him.
Right.
And so it created a relationship, and that's what you can do. If you can provide for somebody, you can also preach the gospel. What a better way to, there's no better way to preach the gospel than to reach them with a helping hand.
That's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah. Well, we sure do appreciate it.
Yes.
We've enjoyed everybody coming into the tiny house. And we look forward to doing another. Let us know what you think. You want the videos here? Or do you want them at the shop? Maybe we'll do one here during the middle of the week and do one at the shop. That'd be a possibility. Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody coming in. Good day. Bless you all. Bye-bye.